Hi there, this is Chris from Electrician Marketers, bringing you a video today about how to grow your electrician company. So I'm going to go through exactly what we do for our clients, and I'm going to get right to it. So first, I'm going to talk about why does the internet matter to you? And you probably know all this already, but 98% of consumers use the internet to find information about local businesses in 2022. Over three-quarters of them regularly read online reviews. Local and organic searches make up over 70% of digital traffic. Almost all consumers use Google to evaluate local businesses. Almost half of local searches involve clicks on the Google Map pack. So the internet, as you know, has replaced the phone book, more specifically Google primarily, also Yelp to some degree or another, and other places like that. But people are coming to the internet to find you, and you have got to be there and you've got to do it right, or you are going to have a hard time. Your repeat and referral customers are also doing this, and so that stream will dry up on you if you are not diligent about contesting for the presence online that you need. And so basically, there are three areas to win. I'm going to go through them. And this is an example of the Google search results. You've got the Google Ads, which also includes the local service ads or the Google Guarantee, whatever you want to call it, the Google Maps, and Google Search. And those are the places where your leads are going to come from. And so here I've got an example. Now, I own the parent company of Heaviside Group. We got a couple different niches that we do. Our largest one, and so the one I'm pulling the data from, is for paving companies. And so from July 1 through June 30th, we generated over 13,000 leads for paving companies. And here's a breakdown of where those leads came from. And so the most of them came from the Google Business Profile, which drives the maps. Second place was Google Ads, and a distant third place was Google Search. And so everyone wants to talk about SEO, 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 and yes, it matters, but it's in last place for getting leads. And so you want to do it, but it's not your priority. Then you also have direct other. Now, most of those are going to be coming from people who saw your ad and didn't want to click it, but instead searched for your brand and came direct. Or similarly, people who saw your Google Business Profile, searched for you, came direct, or existing customers and things like that. That happens too. But a lot of that is driven by activity on these other areas of the search results. And so we don't pay too much attention to it because we can't get any useful information from it. Um, these are the three main areas that you get leads from. Okay. And so, how do we do it? I'm gonna walk through right now. Now, stay tuned for a special offer at the end of this presentation. I think you'll find it useful, and I'll cover it at the end for you. Okay. So, the number one thing is your website. Now, you probably already know this, but your website matters a ton. It is the hub or it is the platform. Everything else kind of rests upon your website. You've got to get it right. It tells your potential customers a lot of things about your business, even possibly false things if you don't keep it up to date. For example, if you haven't updated your website in 10 years, you might be a thriving business doing a great job, but if a new customer searches you out, finds you, and your website is not updated or looks old, they're going to think your business isn't doing well or you don't do a good job. And these things might be totally false, but you have to control that first impression or you will be penalized for it. Um, the website is also the most important thing Google uses to show your business in the three areas that you need to win. Now, there's some variations, obviously, for maps and ads, but you got to get this right. And there are some key things that you can do. And so you need clear calls to action, and you want a nice looking professional site. You can't see it here because it's a picture, but the video in the background is moving, kind of captures attention. There's many different ways to reach out. I'd even have a chat button down here. And so, you are giving the customer the ability to reach out to you in the way that they want. Maybe it's a free quote request. They want to send you the details of your project. Maybe they just want to call you and talk to somebody. Maybe they'd rather chat because they're on their phone and they don't feel like calling. People interact in different ways. And so you want to provide the ability for however they want to do it, you want to have it there for them. Okay. Scrolling down that homepage, you want to talk about yourself. You want to talk about your owners. You want to talk about your team. The potential customers want to know who they were doing business with, who's going to show up at their house. They want to know that you are someone that they can trust and that they might like. And so it's great to have a video. It goes a long way. This stuff matters. And so you don't want to use stock photos. People are going to think you're fake or something's wrong with you. I mean, there's the same stock photo models in a lot of these. And so they've probably seen it before. They're going to recognize it. And they're not going to want to work with you if they see that. You want to show your services. Obviously, this is not the things that electricians do, but you get the idea. You want to kind of show the installs that you do. You want to show examples of just the projects that you've done, services that you do in terminology that is familiar to your marketplace, not your lingo that you use necessarily, but what your customers are asking for when they ask you to do the work. You want to use the language that they use and return that back to them. Okay, you want to include customer testimonials. Make getting them a priority and put them on your website. This is so important. These will always be important to potential customers. It shows you're a real company and it's huge. You cannot skip this point. Okay, and lastly, in the footer, uh, there's this is kind of standardized over time. It didn't used to be this way, but really now there's kind of a user experience expectation that you can scroll onto the footer. You can find the main links to the places you want to go to the website. People want it in the menu, but if they're scrolling through your website, they're going to just want to jump to the bottom and quickly go to where they want to go. You want your contact information down there. If you have a single location, you want to embed a Google map of your location. This helps you a lot in the maps. It helps your customers know where you are. Now, if you have multiple locations, you do not want to do it that way. You want to build out separate location pages and put the maps there. But this is basically what your footer should look like on your website for a single location business. Okay. And this was just the homepage. There's way more. You need to have detailed and clear service pages that describe your service, ideally photos and examples of your service. You want detailed and helpful city service pages. So as you look at the market where you do business, those main population centers, you should have a page for each one that not only talks about you, but it talks about that city or that neighborhood or whatever, having unique and detailed information about that specific area. That will help you rank in the SEO and the maps for that area. It's very important. Project galleries, just examples of maybe more sophisticated installs that you've done. Again, these are kind of more your high dollar projects. This gives you a chance to focus on those. The customers who are going to invest in that higher end stuff, they're going to want to see stuff like that. They're going to see before and afters of when you put in a new circuit box, or circuit breaker rather, or like if you're increasing the line that's coming in. You want to have that in there so someone who's interested in that can see it and can see your work. I can see, did you close up the wall again? Does it look clean? Let them feel comfortable ahead of time that your team's going to do a great job for them, because they're not going to ask and they're going to wonder. And if you can provide them photographic evidence of your quality, they don't have to wonder. Okay. So let's go to your Google Business Profile now. When your website is done properly, it will support your Google Maps presence. The Google Maps is a different animal. Your Google Business Profile is really like your website for Google Maps, but it does rely on your actual website to feed it in some data. But the GBP itself is really the driver, and you have to drive it with signals, especially from customers. So reviews from customers are extremely important. We've had customers who were reticent about getting reviews from their clients. They were struggling in the maps. We really require it. We demand it because it's so important. Not everybody listens. They won't do it, but then they'll come to us and say, well, hey, why aren't we growing faster? And we will tell them, it's because you're not getting reviews. And sure enough, when we help them with this, when you integrate a review gathering program or method, you will see your maps turn around in a matter of weeks. It's amazing. It is so important. Now, when you are doing that, all the other stuff that we can do to extend your reach works. If you're not doing that, you're going to stagnate. And that's just the reality. Reviews is the driver of the maps. Okay, but when you're doing that and you get that right, you can do things like hyperlocal content, talking about key historical markers or key, what do I want to say? Important things that people come and see in your area. Customers giving driving directions, doing searches and maps. All these things give signals which help you show up better in the maps. The more you can do, the better. It's all fueled by reviews. Okay, when you do that, you can take something like this, which, this is the average result, I would say, of someone that we start working with oftentimes. They've got a little bit of success around their office because they're showing an office, they're showing an address. But you can see how it falls off. And so to be clear here, the green shows where they're in the map pack. And the map pack is where you do a local branded search. And you see, the three companies with the reviews on the map where they are. Okay, that's the map pack, that's the gold. And so where this is green, you're in the map pack, and it's the companies who are in the map pack in those locations who do get the phone calls, obviously, right? Now, where you see yellow and orange, some people go through and click more, but it hardly at all. You really don't get phone calls from there. And then red, you are just dead. If you're in 20 plus, you are just not showing up. No one cares. They won't see you. You might as well be on page 10 in Google. That's what it is. Okay. To improve this, you need to optimize your GBP and your website. You got to connect them. They have to be consistent, and you got to fuel it with signals like reviews, and then plus the other stuff that we talk about with local content, all these things. Okay, when you do a better job at that, you do stuff like this, you can see more results like this, where you just start lighting up the maps in your area. You really get the high share of local voice. And it also focuses your efforts, and certainly focuses our efforts. If this were our customer, it might be, I don't, my team put this together for me. But if this were our customer, we'd now be focusing up here where they're falling off, right? Like the rest of this map, they're getting calls, they're doing great. And so now, instead of having to contend for every area of space on the service area, we can really hone in. We can try to specifically gather reviews from this area, hit it with all the little techniques and tactics that we have, and start pushing on this area and improving that. This is a much better position to be in. You're going to be getting more calls, and it lets us hone our fire in on a very small area, which lets it be more effective. So these are the sort of things that you want to see. The best thing you can do, short of getting reviews, make sure that your GBP, Google Business Profile, is filled out completely and accurately. And then have your team, if it's you or if it's your guys driving trucks, post project photos weekly. Just snap a picture when they put a new box in and just send it to the GBP or have them send it to you so that you can post it. However you do it. You want to use an address if you can. Not, some guys work out of their home and they don't want to show their address. That's totally fine. It's not ideal, but this is the world that we live in, and that's okay. You can just be a service area, but you lose the advantage of having an address. Having an address is like a huge boost around your office. If you don't have it, you can still have success, but you got to fight harder. Make sure your primary category is electrician. You can use 2 to 3 other supporting categories. If you offer other services, some people get more into like alarms or like automation systems and things like that. There are other categories out there. So if most of your business comes from electrical work, make that your primary category. Add other supporting categories to cover those other business units, but electrician is the one you want to roll with. Okay. Let's talk about paid advertising. So the next biggest source of leads is paid ads, and we primarily recommend Google ads and Yelp ads. Sometimes Facebook ads will make sense, but usually not first. And so let me give you an example. If you are primarily doing electrical repair work, Facebook ads is going to do nothing for you. No one is going on Facebook, remembering the ad that they saw. If something breaks in their house, if their if their light switches stop working, if if they have a problem, pick it. There's 1,000. They are not going on Facebook. They're going to Google and saying, "Hey, I need an electrician." Right? That's what they're doing. That's why I'm going to be running Google ads. Same thing with Yelp. Yelp is a pretty great source of leads for electricians. And so you want to hit those. When do Facebook ads make sense? Facebook ads make sense for project work. And so, maybe not the sort of thing that someone is actively searching for, but the sort of thing that someone could be, I don't want to say lured. That's not the word I want, but like someone might see a great example, say home automation. Say you do automation stuff, you do the wiring for it, and maybe you have a video showing some really awesome automation. Okay, someone might see that on Facebook and be like, man, that looks awesome. I would love to have that at my house. Okay, so that's where Facebook ads make sense, is when you're interrupting people looking at pictures of cats, whatever they do on Facebook. I'm not a big Facebook guy. You know, it, Showing something like that in an ad will get you leads. If you're just trying to run service work, don't bother. It's not going to do it for you. Okay. So, talking a little bit about paid advertising and specifically Google ads here. And now this is for Google search ads because LSA, like the local search ads or Google Guarantee, works completely differently. But just for Google search ads, the biggest mistake people make is not using a dedicated landing page for their ads. We have multiple variations that we test to get the best results for our customers. And so this is an example over here. It's easy to contact and get the next steps going. And remember, people came here because they're already looking. They clicked an ad. They want to find they're going to make a snap judgment. Is this the person I want to call to get help? Maybe it's just a quote. Who knows? But so this landing page, it's got to be great. It's got to cover all the bases. We'll go through a little bit here what you should have on it. Um, I will comment briefly on there is an argument to be made for using your website. In fact, I have people on my team that prefer to run traffic to websites and not to landing pages. And their reasoning, which I disagree with, but they're not always wrong, is you sometimes will see better results from running to your website. Sometimes people will want to look around, they might want to wander, they might want to go to about you. They might want to just check you out a little more before making a conversion decision. The problem with that is you can lose your tracking, and there are disadvantages from that in terms of optimizing campaigns. And my counter argument would be anything that they could find on your website, you can have on the landing page. And so just make a good landing page and preserve your tracking ability because it will get you better results as Google is able to optimize for your conversions. So as a last resort, we will test web pages, but we'd rather not. We're going to test a couple landing pages first because historically, and it's still true, you get the best results from doing it that way. Okay, so here you got high call to actions, click to call, you got a form to fill out. This is a paving example, but imagine, for electrician, you're going to have the key services you want to highlight that you're running ads for. Again, you're going to cover the services in the area that you're covering. People who see it, who are now scrolling to learn more about you, they want to see that you're in their area, you're from their area, you're doing the stuff that they want you to do, and it looks like you do good work. You have project pictures there, you have testimonials from customers. These are all the things they're going to check, 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 check. Like, all right, this company looks great. I'm going to give them a call, right? And so that's what you got to do. Now, one final comment here about these. Keep your campaigns very basic and do not accept Google's recommendations. They're awful. They'll have people calling you saying, hey, I can run your Google ads for you. Hey, let me optimize them for you. I'm your rep. Hang up as fast as you can. They're terrible. The Google Ads platform gives you awful advice. They want as many keywords in there as they can. Uh, and they'll give you garbage metrics that say, hey, look, you're doing great. But you know that the only metric you care about is that you get a lead and preferably a lead that buys from you. And so you get that and you optimize that by not listening to Google, but rather following best practices developed by people who are good at this, not people who are trying to get you to spend as much money as possible, which is Google and their goons. And so if they're saying it, run away. They might be right occasionally, but do not trust them. They are not looking out for your best interest at all. All right, so finally, note on Yelp. Now, I've been in this business a long time. I am not a fan of Yelp. I haven't been a fan of Yelp. I can't stand the way they handle reviews. They've buried real reviews for my customers. They've left fake reviews for my competitors, and when I ask them to take it down, they refuse. So I've never liked them. I've I resisted the siren call of being a partner for many years, but ultimately I relented because they have shown that they can get leads from my customers, and so I'd be doing my customers a disservice if I did not give them as many ways to get good leads for their businesses as possible. And so therefore we are a Yelp partner. Um, Now, Yelp is a great platform for electricians. And what I like about Yelp, one thing, as opposed to Google, is they will show you estimated results before signing up. So, and I don't know if you can get this by going to them directly or if you have to go through a partner like us, but we will let them know that a potential customer that we're talking to is considering Yelp, and they will put together a deck for us that shows their market. Will show, they won't give us names, they won't give you names. They might tell us, but they won't tell you. Um, who is running ads, what level of spend they're doing, how many leads they're getting, what their cost per lead is, and they can give you, a reasonable idea to understand if you spend X dollars, you will see Y results, which is amazing. That's exactly what you want to see if you want to invest in something. And so, and there are special works for working with a partner like us. You get free list. I don't know. You get stuff. My team knows, but that's what I'll say about Yelp is their review side is garbage. But as far as getting leads, I do highly recommend them, and for that reason, we are a Yelp partner. Okay, now I'm talking about Google search. Again, this is the third biggest source of leads. When we get 10 emails a day, I do, amazingly, trying to sell you SEO. It's usually about this. And there's some basic blocking and tackling you do here. You need to have your website pages formatted correctly. Things like your city electrician and your brand, right? Having the keyword and the title tag and the H1. If you Google this for 5 minutes, you'll learn this stuff, but there is a lot more to it than that. The secret to success now is using an areas served section on your website. So you got to get your website right. You got to have your service pages on page SEO right. You got to do that. It's different if you have a single versus multiple location. You handle these things a little bit differently for as far as the core website goes. Once you have all that stuff right, you need to focus on your areas served section. And I've mentioned this briefly before, but you need to make city service pages for the key elements of your service area. And let me give you an example. It really should look just like your homepage, except you'll notice that it's keyed in on the city that you're targeting. And so again, you want the easy call to actions, you want the multiple avenues for the potential customer to contact you, and you just want to make it as easy for them as possible, but you also want to make the page relevant to that area. So obviously, Orlando, Florida, you're going to talk about Disneyland and whatever 8 million other things that they have there for tourists, right? That's what Orlando's about. You have to fold that into that page in addition to making it about you. And so it's kind of they can be awkward pages at time, but you can build it in ways that make sense. And that's what you do. And the better that page is and the more useful that page is for your customers, you will rank for things like, Orlando Electrician near me with this page instead of your homepage, right? So I'm going to talk just briefly about advanced tactics. This is kind of outside the scope of what I can cover on a presentation like this, but you can do a lot with commercial email lists. And so if you chase commercial work, or if commercial work makes up a good part of your business, you can go after it with outbound marketing. And think about who hires electricians. Any business does. Churches, commercial real estate, um, apartment buildings. I mean, think about who your big commercial customers are, who writes the checks. Those companies are ones that you can market to in a couple of creative ways. We, at my various businesses that I own, we run tons of outbound email. There's a good chance you're watching this because you got an outbound email from me. Sorry about that. But obviously you clicked on it, so I guess that worked out okay. But you can do this too, and there are various ways of doing it. We scrape lists from the internet, we clean them, and we try to send valuable content, so we're not just spamming people. We don't spam. We find out the number of reviews you have, your rating, all kinds of detailed information about you from that you're publicly available from your Google Business profile on your website, and we put that together in kind of a custom package of, hey, if you're seeing this, try X, Y, or Z. So we try to make it valuable content. We're not going to be spammers because that's lazy and useless. You can do things like this too, to reach out to businesses in the area, let them get to know you, give them some value, let them see the kind of work that you do. And if they have a need, they'll reach out to you, or they might just remember you when they do in fact have a need in the future. The other thing you can do with this is you can use that email list on Facebook. So for Facebook ads, it lets you do things like custom audiences and then lookalikes of those custom audiences. And so if you have enough of these emails, you can use that list to send ads to those people and people like them in your area. And then you can run Facebook ads to get your business in front of them. And so, for example, if you do, say, automation for commercial places and you have certain types of commercial customers that buy it, well, I'd get a big list of those commercial customers. I'd make a lookalike from it. I'd, geofence it so I'm not trying to sell stuff 500 miles away. And then I run Facebook ads showing awesome examples of automation that we've done for those businesses. That's the kind of cool stuff that you can do with email. Uh, and, it can have fantastic results. Really, really good. Okay. So I told you at the beginning or close to it, there'd be a special offer for you. And it is, we have a free report with your name on it. Okay. And so there's a call to action in the upper right corner of the website. Schedule a free audit or schedule your call, whatever it says. I don't remember. But go ahead and click to schedule that. And what we will do, my team, is we will put together a custom tailored plan to help you get more calls and projects and sales from your area. Okay. And what are we going to do? We're going to build a report that shows how you're doing in the maps against your competitors. So you remember the GeoGrid I showed earlier. We'll pull yours, we'll pull your competitors, we'll take a look, and we'll just find out where the opportunities are. How, you tell us who your competitors are, we'll tell you how you're doing against them, where they're getting calls and you're not, and maybe what you can do about it. We will run a ranking report and we'll see for SEO, how you're doing, what are you ranking for. What we see a lot is that one page or homepage is doing all the heavy lifting. Well, you're never going to maximize your results that way because you need your service pages to do some lifting for you too. You can't have your homepage ranking for everything or you'll get beat. Okay, so we help you identify that as a problem. We'll also run a Google Ads report. We do surveillance on a lot of markets, and we'll find out who is running Google Ads. We'll pull their ads. We'll find the keywords that they're running them on, and you will know what your competitors are doing in terms of Google Ads in your market, and you'll be able to see what's going on, who's up to what, and again, we can talk about things that you can do to get into that if you're not doing that right now. And we'll just give you custom tips just for you about what you can do to improve your online results. And we will tell you what working with us would look like if you wanted to hire us to do that for you. But the goal of the call is not necessarily to sell you stuff, but to give you valuable information that you can take yourself, make some changes, get better results, and be competitive. And so, if that sounds interesting to you, tap the button, click the link, whatever it is, schedule it, and we will look forward to talking to you. Thanks for your time.